Hey guys, so I wanted to do a part two. Basically, I've gotten comments about my first video about my do not buy the 2010 to 2017 Equinox. I just want to point out that some of the comments that I got were funny because some of the people didn't even read the comments or the description or watch the video before they commented, so that's kind of dumb. So I want to point out that if you look at my first video, you will see that about 70% of the people that commented had the same issues that I was talking about in the video. So uh, I forgot a few things, so I want to go over them. So the exhaust manifold apparently cracks pretty easy, and then it causes oil consumption issues because it leaks out oil. So I don't want to say it's consumption; it just leaks oil. So you can lose oil that way, and that's also another thing that will kill your timing chains. Um, Another thing is on a Facebook group today, actually, some lady was asking about a 2011 Equinox, and in one of my earlier videos, I mentioned that there was a guy that said that they weren't too bad because he had 3 or 4 of them. If you remember that guy I was talking about, he actually commented and told the person that he wouldn't buy it because it has too many miles. It had 105,000 miles on it. He said, "Don't buy it. It has too many miles. It probably has the oil consumption issues by now." And if that's the case, then somebody has already driven it with low oil, which means the timing chains are already on their way out. He literally commented that. So that should say something. Um, I just want to point out too, I am not bashing these. I actually like my car. For what it is, I like it. I haven't had issues with mine either. One guy said that I was a hypocrite for bashing these things when I own one. I'm not being a hypocrite. I'm not bashing these things either. They are nice cars, other than they have a few small things that go wrong with them, like every other car does. But the engines are basically junk. They consume oil, they burn oil real bad because of their design. And then there's a PCV valve issue that I mentioned in my other video too, that is for people with in the cold weather. When like somewhere that if you live where it freezes, you have to worry about it. So I'm not bashing them. I'm stating the facts, and I'm trying to warn people that, hey, you might have these issues if you have one, and then if you are looking for something reliable, they are not reliable, honestly. Um, so the other part that I mentioned, there was a cracked exhaust manifold. The other part is the variable valve timing solenoid, the VVT solenoid, goes bad quite often on these. I saw a few people say that they've replaced 2 or 3 of them on theirs because they're cheap. They are cheap parts to replace. They're cheap. Apparently they're not that much money, and they're easy to do. They are easy to do, but they are a pain because they go bad every so often. So one guy said he changes his like every 30,000 miles or so because they keep on going bad. Um, there's also catalytic converters because of all the oil consumption that they have. They clog up the converters. So they had a recall for that too. I don't know what years those were. Honestly, I didn't look into it. I just do know that there's a recall for the catalytic converters from these cars. So I just wanted to point out that the 2.4 liter is only from 2010 to 2017. That's why I made the video those specific years. I had somebody comment about a 2018, which does not have the same engine. It's not even the same family of engines. So this video is not meant for them. But if you've had great luck with yours, great. I am happy for you. I'm trying to tell you with my videos to still check the oil, change it often, because even though you haven't had issues yet, they are coming, most likely. So mine doesn't have any issues. Mine actually still says that I have. Where's my oil consumption? Oil consumption. Where's it at? 78%. But I changed the oil like 1,500 miles ago, so I'm still going to change it when it hits 3,500 miles or so. Don't care what that 78% says. If it still says 60%, I'm still going to change it. And you should too. Don't ever go by that number. Do not ever go by that, because that is just based on algorithms, and because of the oil consumption in this car, in these engines, that number doesn't even matter anymore, because there's one of the other problems I should mention too is they have a high pressure fuel pump, and that high pressure fuel pump actually pumps fuel in where it seeps by the piston rings and it gets into your oil, which is why I think I mentioned in my other video that my oil did smell like gas. So that happens too. So the gas will break down your oil, and the oil won't lubricate as well as it does when it's new, and it can put wear and tear on your engine that shouldn't happen. So you want to change it often. Change it every 3,500 miles or 6 months, I would say. And then the other problem that I would say, it's not really a problem, but people have had issues with the radio. It's usually pairing their phone to it for music, which if you look in the owner's manual, I couldn't find anywhere that said about music, about pairing it for music, about playing music from your phone. Everything that had to do with pairing your phone was for the phone function. So, but what you do is, if you want music on this, you have to go into Bluetooth, which you go into your source, or sorry, you go into home, you hit Bluetooth, which is what it's on right now, and you go and I'm going to actually pause this. So I don't want to show the song too much because I don't know what YouTube's going to do if it shows the title. So you pair the Bluetooth, it'll come up with saying, pair to your phone, whatever, you have to have them discoverable. And then once it pairs, you have to allow it on your phone. You have to allow it for phone and music function, and then it should pair. If you have issues, some people have had issues after they have it for a day or two or a week, and it all of a sudden stops working, well. Then you just delete your phone from the radio and delete the radio from your phone and repair it as if it's the first time you ever did it. That should help. It might not fix the problem. If it doesn't fix the problem, then you're probably not going to be able to fix it unless you did a different phone or whatever. So I have a Samsung Galaxy S9 and it works fine with mine. I do have a few small glitches where sometimes it'll show the previous song, even though the new song is playing and it's playing just fine. It'll show the previous song that played. And then the other issue I have is just a little glitch, is if I get in my car after being in it or being out of it for just a few minutes and I have it paired up to Bluetooth already, it'll play the song automatically. And it's choppy for the first 10 or 15 seconds, and then it catches up. After that, it's fine. So other than that, though, I haven't had issues with the radio. So, and then I'm just going to hit source. So with that being said, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I am not making these videos to bash. I am making these videos to educate people. That's it. I'm trying to help people out in making the decision about buying these. Okay, if it's something that has 30,000 miles, most likely it's okay. But I have seen people's engines go at 30,000 miles, 40,000 miles. One person said that they had theirs go. They replaced it with a used one that only had 70,000 miles, and 3 months later that one went. So they had to have that one rebuilt. So within 70, I think the first one they said they had about 80,000 miles. So they had 80,000 miles or so, bought a used engine that had 70 on it, and had bad luck with that one too. So, and they don't want to trade in their car because they already owe their dad like $2,000 for the engine, and they also still owe on the car. So, a lot of people are saying that these things are money pits because once the engine goes, you're paying quite a bit of money for something that you can't even drive. I've even seen people say that I can't drive it. It's sitting in my driveway, and it's not worth it to fix it because it's only worth a couple grand, because they have 120,000 miles on it or whatever. So that's why, one person was saying I'm being a hypocrite because I own one, but I'm saying all this stuff about them, so I shouldn't own it since I'm a hypocrite. But I wanted to point out, mine does not have issues yet. I'm not being a hypocrite because I'm not bashing. I'm just saying that they're not really a good car to buy. I bought mine not knowing the issues that they had. I went to the dealership, and the cars that I was looking at were a lower price point. So I did not research the Equinox because none of those cars at that place had that. Or none of those cars at that place with that price point were Equinoxes. So once my girlfriend decided that we should spend a little bit more money and get something that's a little bit more reliable, we were already there. So, and it was getting late, so we're okay, we test drove a few and we got this. So after I bought it is when I found out that they have issues. So that's why I have it in the first place. I've only had it for 6 months. I might trade it in before the powertrain warranty's up. That's another good point, is I got a powertrain warranty with it from the dealership. So, but I also found out, this isn't anything really bad, but the 2000s Cobalt, the Chevy Cobalt that replaced the Cavalier, it's a little 2-door coupe and they had a 4-door one. They had an SS version that you could get a supercharged 4-cylinder, or you could get the 2.4 liter 4-cylinder that's in the Pontiac Solstice, the Saturn Sky, and it was in the Cobalt SS for like 2006, 2007, one of those. I think it was 2006 only, and then it became a Sport in 2007, I believe. So what it was is, I'm not going to say anything else about the Equinox, so if you're only worried about the Equinox, then that doesn't really matter. I was just going to say that this engine that's in these, the 2.4 liter, is actually the successor to the 2.4 liter that was in the Cobalt and the Saturn Sky and this Pontiac Solstice. So that's all I'm going with this point. So if you are done with the Equinox part, thanks for watching. But what I wanted to say is that the Cobalt engine was the predecessor to this one. They did not have as many issues that I know of, but they had a similar horsepower and torque, and they were pretty close to the same thing. But this one was just built cheaper because it was in a mass-produced car instead of a performance car. So, but the Cobalt SS went from being a supercharged car. When they had the supercharged one, that was the highest trim. Below that, they had the SS that wasn't supercharged, and that had the 2.4 liter in it. The reason that they did that was because there was only like a 30 horsepower difference between the two. The 2.4 was 171 horsepower, and the supercharged one was 205, so there wasn't a huge difference. Once they switched out the supercharged one for a turbocharged one, when it went up to 260 horsepower, obviously a 90 horsepower difference would make it so what's the point of having this one as an SS also when it's 90 horsepower lower than the turbocharged one. So they decided to make it a Sport instead. So that's where the SS went away. So then when the turbocharged one came out, the only way you could get an SS was the turbocharged one. So I don't know if they kept the 2.4 liter longer than that. I'm not sure, but I'm not really familiar with the Cobalt too much. I just know about the SSs. But with that being said, that's why they used that engine in here, because it was a high performance engine. They thought it could take it, but that was for kind of a sports car. Actually, every car that was put in was a sports car. The Solstice was a roadster, the Sky was a roadster, and the Cobalt was a little sports car. So then they put that engine, pretty much a successor of that engine, into a 4,000 pound car that's, like I said, comparable to like a Crown Victoria police car in weight. So and also the Charger is the same way. It's about 4,000 pounds. So for being a little 4-cylinder, power-wise, it isn't bad. I actually think this thing it has power for what it is. It's not going to win any races. It's not there to, you're not going to get 0 to 60 in 6 seconds. It's like 9.5. I think front-wheel drive is 9. So they're honestly not bad. The transmission is geared decently, so they can handle the load. But if you're kind of a speed demon, you're going to be disappointed with this. You want to go with a V6. So. But with that being said, I'm going to stop this video. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you would like. I would appreciate it. And comment, or if you have any questions, leave them down below. I will try to be as honest as possible. I hope I am making a good point about having honest reviews about these cars. Because like I said, I do like my car. I do like this car. But they have problems, and quite a few people have those problems. It's not like just a little, even the other cars that have decent amount of problems, like this has more. So that's why I'm making the videos about this. My Monte Carlo technically is it has a junk transmission in it, but the transmissions that are in those, in the Impala and the Monte Carlo, along with other cars like Buick LeSabre and Buick Lucerne and all sorts of stuff, they don't have a high percentage of issues. They have issues, but the percentage of those going bad compared to these having oil consumption is way different. These have way more issues with it. So, but anyway, like I said, thanks for watching. and subscribe if you would like. Thanks.